Thank you so much. Amen and amen. All right, everybody. This is Ms.B, Positively Ms.B. As promised, I am here. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to separate the episodes. I'm going to separate. Michelle Rhett is going to join me later on. She's going to be calling in. And we're going to be talking about the 2017 Church at Risk National Summit. For all of those who think that it's all about church, no, it's not. The faith-based community extends far beyond just four walls. It's about interactions within denominations. It's about interactions with other denominations. It's also interactions in the community, business-wise. There's a lot of discrimination in all denominations. So Michelle Rhett of the Church at Risk and the Sacred Veil, they represent a lot of different people and a lot of different litigations, whether it's discrimination at work or in the public or anywhere, among each other, denominations against denominations. Face against face. There's a lot of things going on. And Michelle Rhett is going to talk about how she is involved in social activism. And I don't want you to think it's just about churches, but if you are a church, social, or civic leader, you have any interest in what's going on in the faith-based community, this is the show that you want to see. We are going live. Oh, sweetie, I love you too. We're going live with Michelle Rhett. Hey there, Wisdom Hope. We're going live with Michelle Rhett shortly. She's going to go live on her own Facebook page because this is information that you need to know about the Church at Risk National Summit coming up November 9th through the 11th up in Eastern Maryland. She's going to give you all the details. That's why I don't want to repeat what she's going to. Yeah, the excitement builds, baby girl. I don't want to repeat what she's going to share, but she will be joining us later. And then after her interview is over, I'm going to come back with the rest of the morning show. But for right now, until she calls in and joins us, thank you so much. Again, if you don't know anything about me, you can find more about me at www.positivelyms.b.com. I thank you so much for joining me this morning on Morning Show with Ms. B. So I've welcomed you and I've given you the prayer. So what do I normally talk about? I always have a scripture later on. And I promised that I was going to talk about, and I'll get into this more on the second half of the show, but I wanted to talk about who are we? Yes, I see that, Byron. So who are we as a human? Who are we? Are we just existing? I'm going to be talking about that in the scripture that's going to go with that. But I don't want to get too much in detail because I'm waiting for Michelle Rhett to call in, and I want that to be a separate video. But for right now, I'm going to move past the scripture and talk about wisdom. I always talk about wisdom after the scripture. For right now, I talk about who are we? Being your true self is the most effective formula for success there is. So yesterday I said, find your true self. But today I said, being your true self. Being your true self. And that's what I want to talk about today. Who are we as humans is the most effective formula for success there is. But is success all about money, career? What is success to you individually? Do you want to be a successful mother, wife, husband? What do you want to be a success in? For me, the first and foremost thing I want to be a success in is being a faithful servant of the Lord. What is your goal as far as being a success is concerned? Being your true self. Have you found out what your true self is? Yesterday I asked you, find your true self. Have you found out who you are, truly who you are? Not what you do and who you are to other people. Did you think about it yesterday if you were on? But my question to you is, find your true self. And then it says, being your true self. Once you find out who you are, do you know how to successfully be that? I talked about taking on the characteristics of Jesus Christ, if you are a follower of Jesus Christ. If not, those character traits are applicable regardless of whether you believe in Jesus or who you believe in. As a human, the fruits of the Spirit are very, very applicable to any person, regardless of their faith walk. Love, joy, peace, kindness, long-suffering. You can look them up if you're not interested in a scripture version of it. There's so many ways you can find out about it on the internet without being involved with religion or faith. But the fruits of the Spirit are characteristics that we all should aspire to have, again, regardless of what your faith is. Have you found your true self? Are you willing to take on characteristics that could bring about positivity in your life as well as all of those who are around you? What's your formula for success? it says true self is the most effective formula. But if you don't know who you are, then you're running around trying to be like Jack and Jill and Miss Jane. I'm just saying, especially for women. But men, they tend to want to create their own identity. They want to, hey, I'm a big dude, I'm this and I'm that. But is that really who you are? Finding out who you are may be the reason why you have not succeeded, because you don't know who you are. I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. But who are you? What do you aspire to do? Have you had the opportunity to really sit down and say, you know what, regardless of the naysayers, and while I'm getting to that, I want to say, Wisdom Hope, I appreciate you joining me, because you made a post, even though I had seen it before, and I tell other people to do it, it was time for me to receive it in my spirit. We have so many talents and gifts within ourselves that could create not only personal success but financial wealth. But for some reason, we tend to look toward being captive to a job. And of course, it's very scary being an entrepreneur. But either way, what gifts do you have? And you have basically ignored them. Some of you are gifted and talented with art. Creativity. You have a voice to sing. You have a knack to do hair without being trained. Some of you are born to do a lot of things, but you tend to go out and get employed and not pursue what you were given naturally to do. We were never really born to be enslaved to anybody for anything. We were all given something to do to be able to be creative on our own. So Wisdom Hope posted, go out and do some with your talents. You got knowledge, go ahead. You need to make money off the knowledge. Stop giving everything away free. And she was absolutely right. She didn't word it exactly like that, but I thought about that thing. All my life I've been able to give help to others. I'm not going to say advice. Help to others and be there positively for others. And that's why they came up with Positively Ms.B. So I want to thank Wisdom Hope for encouraging me to continue to pursue identifying myself as Positively Ms.B. But that being said, what are you identifying yourself with? I'm finding out who my true self is. Okay, I think Michelle is trying to call in. Can you just hold on while I do that? She forgot the number. All right, just hold on a second, everybody. I'm going to keep talking to you. But by the way, what I'm trying to tell you is that we have a gift, and we should all apply that gift. And again, I want to thank Wisdom Hope for giving me that that encouragement to do what I have to do. I'm sending Michelle the number right now. I think she misplaced it, but that's okay. We're going to get this going. But she's going to come on and she's going to tell us more about the churchatrisk.com and also the National Summit that's coming up. But that being said, Michelle Rhett is an ecclesiastical lawyer up in Northern Virginia, and she has the Sacred Veil. And she started out because she realized on her own situation that there were some people out there who didn't appreciate her relationship with Christ just because she had a Bible on the desk. And that spearheaded her interest in what's going on as far as the faith-based community. Are people really being discriminated against because of who they are and what they believe in? So I'm going to dial in the number. Just hold on a second, please. Okay.
This service is provided. Access code accepted. There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Michelle Rhett is on the phone. Thank you, Michelle, so much for joining me. How are you?
I am wonderful, Ms. B. Thanks for having me on the show.
Not a problem. I'm going to turn your volume up just a little bit. Hold on a second. All right, everybody, we have Michelle Rhett. I am going to let her take over. Michelle Rhett is the ecclesiastical lawyer who's going to tell us all about the Church at Risk. She's very versed in how to represent herself, so I don't think I'm going to have to ask a whole lot of questions. But to my Facebook fans, I introduce you to Michelle Rhett.
Hey, everybody, this is Michelle Rhett. We're also live on Facebook as well. So those of you that are listening or that are available, please join in. Tell your friends to join in to hear me and Miss Positively Ms. B talk about the 2017 Interfaith Church at Risk National Summit that is taking place November 9th through the 11th at the Renaissance Chapel View Hotel in Arlington, Virginia. We're here today to convince you that you need to register. Registration is going slow. People are saying they didn't remember. And then what we know is that there's a whole bunch of people that's waiting to register. And what they don't know, Ms.B, is that the registration rates are going up October 20th. And so that is too soon because you'll miss out if you forget. So our advice to you today is going to be register now, book your rooms now. We have just reduced the hotel rate. That's how bad we are. We want you there. We want you to participate. Ms.B, what were you going to ask me about it? Because I know you had some exciting questions as well.
Well, absolutely. I was just telling them that it's not all about church. It's about being a social activist. Tell them how you got involved with the Sacred Veil and Church at Risk and what it means to the general community, not just the faith-based.
Well, let me first of all by saying, yes, the major sponsor of the 2017 Interfaith National Summit is the Sacred Veil. And the Sacred Veil is not a religious organization. The Sacred Veil is a civil rights advocacy group that advocates for the rights of many people. Of course, that's going to include you're right under the First Amendment to exercise freedom of religion. And so that's how we get the churches. And the Sacred Veil provides legal resources to churches and to other nonprofit organizations that either because of their size or because of their budget cannot afford routine legal services. As you guys know, many small organizations can't afford legal services. And so what the Sacred Veil was created for, my pastor, Bishop Alfred A. Owens, asked me to do something outside of my corporation where small churches and small organizations could benefit from the type of dynamic legal services that we offer. I don't know if those of you, how many of you are on here that know me from the Michelle Rhett Show or either Church at Risk Live. You also know that we have training throughout the country called Church at Risk Live, Church at Risk, Piercing the Sacred Veil. And that training focuses on every element that's involved in the administration of houses of worship. And so therefore, because our training tells us what the churches and what other organizations needed, we created a nonprofit to go along with it. We provide, I guess, some of the most extensive services. They call them multidimensional services for organizations with regard to every element of what you do, your administration, your leadership team, and of course, the legal impact of those leadership teams. So when we sat down and decided what we would do with our national summit, we thought we would make it more open to the general public by making it a strategic meeting. So this is an all-inclusive gathering of some of the best business and legal minds in the nation coming together to help the faith-based community navigate through the complexities of legal issues and the complexities of the regulations regarding businesses. This being so important that the church remember that it is a business. It is a business under the law. And as a business, there are certain mandates and regulations that you have to follow. And what we have seen as the nation's first ecclesiastical law center is that many of the churches don't know what the regulations require. They don't know much about compliance. They may attend one conference, come out of that conference and say, okay, we've got to keep our books right. We've got to take minutes for our board meetings. But there is so much more. We are monitoring over 200 plus cases that are involving pastors, boards of trustees, religious organizations, and nonprofit organizations that the only reason that they're in court is because of the fact that they just didn't know. There's just so much information they just didn't know. And so I wanted to make sure that my corporation, the Maximum General Results, addressed those type of issues through our training. But last year, well, in 2015, I get my years backwards, y'all. In 2015, we decided to go a step further. And we decided to offer pro bono and reduced legal services to those organizations that could not afford what we do.
All right, then there you have with the Sacred Veil. Now, how did that get you started in having national summits?
Oh, goodness. Well, guys, this is what's so important. We were asked to do a summit or asked to do a conference, and we just didn't want to do a church conference. We didn't think that there should be another church conference. Every ecumenical organization is having a church conference. Everyone is telling you how to get empowered, how to get prepared, how to do this. But very few of those conferences are mixing the legal aspect with what is really going on with the organization. And so it left a void, and we wanted to fill that void. And so last year, we put out a test conference. It was called the Sacred and Protected Church Beyond Compliance Legal Summit.
Mm-hmm.
And we had it last year at the Sanctuary Church at Kingdom Square in Capitol Heights, Maryland. The pastor is Pastor Anthony Macklin, and he basically partnered with us and several other churches. And we brought a 1.5-day event just to kind of test the market, you guys. We just wanted to know what you were interested in. And from those more than 150 people were full-time registrants, and probably on Monday night when Bishop Joel Peoples presented, there was probably about 200-plus people in the room. I mean, the room was packed to hear him talk. We wanted to have every pastor understand what it feels like when you're actively involved in litigation. You know, how does that impact your church? This man, this wonderful pastor, lost his entire church. He lost the church that his family created. And the reason that he lost it is even though there were lawyers working and there were dynamic lawyers, one of the things that we had said from the beginning of that case was you need to look at your structured document. What did your parents intend to create? His parents were the founders of that organization. Ms.B, we can't believe how many pastors are founders of churches but don't have a founder's constitution.
A lot of people don't even know what a founder's constitution is.
That's the reason we started the conference, because there was so much today that they just did not know.
All right, so moving forward to this one, I was blessed to be at that one last year, and so we're moving forward to this one. And again, let's talk about the caveat before we get into the meat. We have some rooms available for that summit. Give the listeners a little bit about what's going on with the reservations and how they can participate in that.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we need your help. Veterans Day weekend is a quite an expensive weekend. You're going to hear from me a little later today because we're going to be filming from the actual site today. And you'll hear from me. And what I want you guys to understand is we put together a venue that brings in some of the best and brightest business minds, over 20 speakers, over 16 activities. The way we have this structured is we have your day. Except for Thursday and Saturday, we have your day planned out. So you don't have to think about anything. And because of that, we're asking that you help us with attrition. Help us by staying at the conference site. The original conference, the original registration or the original rooms were going for $189. I know for many of you that that's significant. I mean, we're in hard financial times across the world, so I would not ask anybody to pay that unless you really have to. However, what I want you to know is Veterans Day weekend, those rooms will be between $200 and $300 across the D.C. area. So you're not going to find anything cheaper. So guess what we did? Yesterday, we went back and we negotiated with the Renaissance Marriott Hotel a reduction in the room rate. That's right. So effective, I think it's going to come out, it'll be effective as well as Saturday, but if not, Monday, you will be able to book your room for $149. We have taken $40 off the room rate because we need you to stay there. You know what happens when people go to events and then they're staying someplace else, they get to everything late, they miss out on critical information. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. And you know how we did it? They're basically having food served all day long. So you can't say I have to run out somewhere, even though this is an area in Arlington that you're going to be swamped. There's more than 50 restaurants surrounding you. So if you want to get out and you want to have a good time, we're asking everybody, spend the weekend, spend Veterans Weekend on us. All you have to do, even if you're not coming to the summit, invite your friends to stay at the Renaissance Capitol View Hotel on Thursday, Friday night. Invite them to stay with us so that they can take advantage of this rate. All they have to do is say the 2017 Church at Risk Summit. Once they say that, you get the price. Say, I'm here to register for the 2017. I want a room with the 2017 Church at Risk Summit, or you can just say the Sacred Veil, or you can just say Church at Risk. If you use any of those words, they're going to give you that special rate. If you don't, they're going to give you a higher rate. So we're asking you guys, you want your family to enjoy D.C. This hotel has views of the nation's capital that are spectacular. That's why they call it the Capitol View Hotel, because every room has a view of the Capitol. So bring your families down for Veterans Day weekend. Stay, hang out with us, attend one of our events. The great thing about the summit is that you don't have to register for the entire summit. We want you there. Yeah, he asked me as one of the organizers, we want you there. We want you to attend the entire summit. However, if you can't and your schedule won't permit you to, then come. Stay the night with us on Thursday. Thursday's community forum is going to be off the chain. I don't know if the young people still say that, but it is going to be hot. It's going to be something that you want to experience. The community forum this year features Dr. Lance Watson of St. Paul's Baptist Church, Richmond, Virginia, Bishop Rosetta Bryson, the lovely Bishop Rosetta Bryson from Word of Life Kingdom Church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dr. John Sibley from Harvard University School of Religious Studies. We're also going to have representatives. Oh, and I forgot to say, I'm doing the charge, your girl, Michelle Rhett. One of the things, Ms.B, that people complained about last year, they said that I didn't talk enough. I didn't speak. And I'm known to be a person that speaks all over the country about churches. And so they said she didn't speak. So I'm going to set the atmosphere November 9th, and I'm going to have 40, you count them, 40 young people with me. They call themselves the Singing Sensations Youth Choir of Baltimore, Maryland, under their founder, Dr. Hollywood Mincy. We're going to be there, and they're going to help me present a charge to you like never before. It's already been written. We're already rehearsing it. And guess what it's called? It's called A Return to Sesame Street. You know why? Because the forum is called Divided We Fall. This particular event is going to discuss the division in the faith community, whether it's cultural, whether it's race, whether it's same-sex gender relationships, whether it's just a disagreement over the size of your church. We have found that churches have so many things in common. I don't understand why Sunday morning is the most segregated hour of the week, Ms.
Sure is.
I can't seem to put my finger on it. But we can go to lunch together. We can go to restaurants together. We can go to cultural events together. But when it comes to coming into a house of worship, this nation, these United States of America, remains divided and separate. And in this case, what we are learning is that just like the 1954 decision of Brown versus the Board of Education, separate is not equal.
Separate is not equal. I could listen to her talk. She could recite the ABCs backwards and forwards, and I just mesmerized. I just love her presentation. So that being said, Michelle, you told them a little bit about who's going to be there. But overall, what is your objective for this summit for 2017? Interfaith. I like that you put that in there. But what is your overall objective personally?
The overall objective for me as the founder of the Sacred Veil is to make sure that we bring together the best and the brightest minds to help the faith-based community navigate through some of the hurdles that they currently face. This year's summit is called It's a Thin Line Between Church and State. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend 3 intense, or basically 15 trainings, 15 workshops, 3 plenary sessions, the community forum, the Innovation Awards Gala, the Corporate Awards Luncheon. All of the events of this summit will focus on those areas that there is very blurred lines with what is legal and what's not. You're singing someone else's song. What's the problem with that? Churches are being sued because you have to have a licensing agreement. So we want to focus on all of those areas. So we've got classes. We've got some of the best and the brightest. I'm getting ready to tell you who they are. But we've got classes in finance. Well, let me just back it up. The summit has 3 tracks. So you can actually sign up for the classes that you want in advance, okay? So there's going to be law, leadership, and administration. And so in those 3 tracks are everything about those 3. Those are the areas that we see the most litigation in. So in our leadership track, we're going to cover, I'm teaching Ellis Crum, Coach Ellis Crum. Shout out to my co-host from The Great Divide, Ellis Crum. Coach Ellis. Coach Ellis and I are teaching a course called Sex, Money, and Hate, the new crimes to interfere with the church. This is a huge deal because we're going to talk about the most recent sex crimes, the most recent hate crimes, and of course the most recent money issues and disputes that are happening in the church. That's going to be on the leadership track. Also in the leadership track, we're going to have a session for board leaders, because the problem with many organizations is not the concept or the vision of the organization, my friends. The problem is the governing board. The governing board doesn't know how to be a governing board. And so Church at Risk has gone around for the last 2 years teaching on governing boards. And so we were asked last year by the participants, bring that to the summit. So we're doing everything you guys asked. Another leadership class, the nuts and bolts of your Constitution and bylaws. Attorney David Dupree out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He's our Southeastern Counsel for the Maximum Driven Results Group. He's going to be here. He teaches a remarkable class on what type of organization do you think you are. Mm-hmm. You had it in your mind to create a church or to create an outreach center, but what did you really create when you put it in writing? Mm-hmm. And that's just really important. That is significantly important. So those are the leadership classes. On the administrative side classes, oh my God, they've got some good stuff. They're going to be handling money. How do you regulate money? We've got Marcia Renee Tuck coming from Central Baptist in Baltimore. She's an accountant at Morgan State. She's worked all over the country. She's down at Morgan State University in Baltimore. She'll be teaching on regulating and handling the church's money. We've got the dynamic minister, Sean Anthony Varnado from the First Baptist Church of District Heights. He's the COO there, and he manages so many other organizations, talking about how you manage your organization with regard to money. And Sean is also teaching an administrative class that deals with the two roles. Ms.B, at most churches, because of their size, we have a lot of people that are holding dual roles. And so because they're holding dual roles, they don't understand that one role that they're holding may trump the other role. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of, sort of, and that's
important. Let me
important.
explain it to you, because I want to make sure I'm asking you, Ms.B, because I know you wear several hats. You know, we are, particularly as African Americans, they're used to wearing 50,000 hats. But when it comes to business, there are laws that regulate what hat you can wear. Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, you can be over two things, but you have to be careful about it, that one can't control the other. Mm-hmm. I'll give you the greatest example. For 23 years, I have served as at the helm of the Maximum Driven Results Group. For some part of that years, I'd say 5 years, many years ago, I became the general counsel. I stepped down from CEO, became the general counsel. And then about 2010, when we created the Ecclesiastical Law Center, I went back to the position of CEO. So since 2010, for the last 7 years, I've been back as CEO. So I've been CEO of the Maximum Driven Results Group for 18 years. Okay? We created the Sacred Veil. The Sacred Veil is a separate and distinct civil rights organization that is separate from the MDR group. The MDR group doesn't control it. How do we know? The law is going to say who runs it. Well, the board of directors that runs the Sacred Veil is not me. I am the executive director. I am responsible for the everyday needs of the organization, including our biggest project for 2017 Interfaith National Summit. Okay, so what I want churches to understand is there is no law that mandates that a pastor or a leader in a church can't hold 2 to 3 positions. The question is, what is the relationship in those positions, and whether there is a conflict of interest in your serving in those roles. Okay, so you can't be the CEO of a for-profit company and the CEO of its nonprofit. The reason is because the board of the for-profit is deemed to make the decisions for the board of the nonprofit. That's a conflict of interest.
Churches get in trouble like that, I'm telling you.
They're getting in trouble at massive numbers, Ms.B. Massive numbers. So let me tell you just about some of the great, incredible speakers. On Thursday and Friday, we have got the girl of all girls. We've got Dr. Sharon Saul. Sharon Saul from B-Lex Consulting out of Annapolis, Maryland is just absolutely amazing. She goes around the country and she teaches on leadership to churches. She teaches strategy. How do you engage the community? Churches often complain that they're not growing. They say that we're not growing, we can't get the right members, people don't tithe, they say all these things. But what they don't realize is, as I said in the beginning, the church is a business. The business belongs to God. Jesus is the CEO. And so if you're going to be promoting a church, you have to come up with strategic ways in order to get people to believe in your message, or not just your message, but to adopt your message. Because as you realize, John Maxwell, people don't necessarily accept your vision all the time. They like the leader. And if they can like the leader and adjust to the leader, then they can accept the leader's vision. That's what Mahatma Gandhi taught us. If they like Mahatma Gandhi. People love Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. People love John F. Kennedy. So there are people in history that we've known, such as Oprah Winfrey. People may not agree with everything that Oprah does, but they love Oprah. And so what Sharon Saul does is Dr. Saul. She goes out and she teaches churches how to do better engagement. How do they vision cast better? And speaking of Sharon Saul, we also have the dynamic Yvette Haynes coming from Charleston, South Carolina. Yvette Haynes is the most dynamic vision coach for a church you can get. Why? This woman puts your vision in print, has been able to get 501c3 applications cleared with the IRS in less than 6 months for churches. No one can attest to that. This girl is bad to the bone.
Yes, she
and
is.
She's coming to show our pastors and our leaders and our organizations how you cast your vision so that the IRS adopts it.
Beautiful.
Okay? So you've got Dr. Sharon Saul, you've got Evita, you've got oh my God. Diana Oliver from the D.B. Oliver Insurance Agency, one woman that has more than 400 clients now in insurance. She represents a litany of organizations, but her approach has been so different. And we want her to talk to our audience about how do you build a business from scratch. So that's why we said we've got business leaders coming in here. We've got the vice president of T-Mobile Corporation herself. Ms. Kenya Dunn will be here with us on Thursday and Friday. Of course, we've got the incredible Bishop Rosetta Bryson out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I don't know if you guys remember Rosetta Bryson in this area, but she was probably the youngest head when Marion Barry was the mayor of D.C. She led the Religious Affairs Organization. That's why she's coming. She has a human rights activist organization. They raise tons of money. They do incredible work for the kingdom. And she's going to be with us every day. She's doing a workshop on Thursday, as well as Dr. Sharon Saul. I'm doing a workshop. The dynamic founder of Wise Word Ministries, Elder Angela Thornton, does a class that she did last year. And everybody said, bring it back. It's called The Evolution of the Church. I don't know if you remember, Ms.B, but this class was absolutely remarkable. The evolution of the church. And so I want to make sure to reveal yourself. Angela's going to be teaching on Thursday. She's going to be speaking as well on Friday. It's just going to be incredible. Alice Plum is speaking on Thursday. And as I said, then we've got the evenings event. So I want to let you guys know that there is an art gallery this year. So we're doing something a lot different at this venue. There's an art gallery. It's called a Social Justice Art Gallery. And it focuses on those images that have brought us all to tears. Maybe some of them you have seen, and some of them you have not seen. And this art gallery is being promoted by the Millennial Group. And so the Millennial Group of the Summit is being sponsored by my niece, Christine Rhett. And Christine Rhett is a 2017 honors, top of her class, graduate of the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, New York. And so she's going to be here. She's designed these T-shirts. We've got this theme going for social justice because we want us to all remember the responsibility that the faith-based community has in the rest of the world. We can't turn our heads off and say that we're no longer interested in what's going on because Donald Trump is the president. It is time for all of us to get actively involved. And so that's why we're going to have this dynamic art gallery. And then we've got this opening reception at 6 o'clock on Thursday the 9th. You don't want to miss it. You get to see the art gallery. You get to hear some of the things that the Sacred Veil is doing. We'll have some keynote speakers doing that. They'll just be kind of giving hellos. And all through the night, we've got many corporations coming and basically saying to you, hello, who they are, what they do, and why they feel that you are most important to them. I want to make sure that we know who's out there that can help us, okay? And that's before the community forum, which is, of course, Divided We Fall. And I mentioned the speakers to you on that.
Well,
Ms.B?
yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can barely hear you, but I can hear you.
Well, yeah, with some connectivity problems, but I think they got the gist of what you're saying. So you gave us a mouthful, and I think you've given us an overall view of what they can expect. So as we come to a close, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you? And I know, speaking from the social media point of view, Church at Risk social media is relatively new. So where else can they find out about you except on social media? Your website, your personal page, where else can they find you?
Yeah, you guys. Well, one of the things I want to say, I want to read Ms.B. just how they're, describing this event, and then I'm going to tell you how you can get in touch with me. So this is the all-inclusive gathering for the business, faith, and legal community. So if you have any interest in any one of those communities, you want to be there. $349 is the registration rate for 3 dynamic days of strategic sessions, private business consultations. What I did not mention, Ms.B., that's so critical, is that we have what's called Ask the Expert, and that is private business and legal consultation. It comes free with your registration ticket. So if you have a registration pass or a badge, you can actually sign up to get coaching. This is executive coaching, which normally costs $1,000 an hour. This is executive coaching. Dr. Fred Snowden, Attorney Nicole Flanagan, Dr. Myra B. Robinson. I mean, we've got Dr. Sharon Falls, who I mentioned earlier. We've got Dr. David Dupree, Sean Barnado. All of us are getting together to bring you these incredible sessions where you can present a problem in your church or a problem in your organization, and we're going to work with you into finding the solution. Never before has this ever been done at any event. This is new, and we're offering it to you free with your registration. So you get that. It's going to cost you $500 to $1,000. We're giving it to you because we want you to know that we're here to support our communities, and whatever we can do for our communities, we're going to do. So how do you get in touch with me? I'm at Michelle Rhett at Facebook. You can also look at our Church at Risk Facebook page. Like it, please. Twitter, MD Respect. Twitter, Church at Risk. Church at Risk National Summit Facebook page as well. LinkedIn, Michelle Rhett. Let me see, what else? There's so much. The website for the summit, that's the biggest thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you can register.
We can't forget that.
No.
The website for the summit, www.churchnationalsummit.com. www.churchnationalsummit.com. You can even call us. There is a number to call. Oh, Ms.B, it's 301-965-0194. I'll repeat it again, my love. 301-965-0194. You're going to be hearing a lot about this summit in the next 5 weeks. Listen, don't sit back. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. It's going to fill up. We're not going to have a space in the private consultations. I can tell you that now, if you wait till the last minute. And let me challenge every one of you out there that has an organization, that has a governing board. Send your leaders. We have got about 17 churches that are going to be sending their entire boards. And so we're asking you, send your leaders, not just your board of trustees or your board of directors. Send the people that you hold out as leaders to this summit. Those are the people that's causing you to lose the most money. I want to help you. I'm here for you. This is your girl, Michelle Rhett. But listen, let me tell you, the summit, Ms.B, what's important is who's behind the summit. The summit has a great group of people behind it. We've got more than 22 organizations behind this summit.
Wow.
But let me tell you who the co-chairs are. So if you don't get me, you can go after them. Bishop Harry Eugene, I know you didn't want me to say that, H. Eugene Dellinger, out of the Cathedral of the Covenant Church of Columbus, Ohio. He is a 2016 recipient of the Innovation Award. He's one of the co-chairs. Attorney Nicole Flanagan. This sister is bad to the bone. She is the woman behind such the nonprofit strategies and the nonprofit legal rules and regulations, and she's phenomenal. Of course, your girl, Michelle Rhett, the executive director of the Sacred Veil and the founder of this summit. And then, of course, Lansdowne, Virginia. Michelle T. Thomas is a beast. She is the executive director of the Freedom Foundation or the Freedom Center in Loudoun County, Virginia. They're doing some awesome work. We're going to be talking about that later on our shows. And, of course, Reverend Timothy McFadden from Concord Baptist Church and the senior pastor of Church of the Messiah out of Baltimore. We had to have a Baltimore connection. So those are some of the summit chairs. So look them up. We are all on Facebook. So you will see us posting there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ms.B. Thank you for the time that you guys have given me. My Facebook family sees that I'm sweating bullets here because I get so excited. I'm headed into a conference call, and then I'm headed to the Renaissance Capital View Hotel so that you guys will be able to see this dynamic space. It's going to be filmed live today. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Ms.B.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.